What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Sergeant Moose here, back with another The Texas Chainsaw Massacre video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be doing a map ranking. So with the newest edition of the Graveyard in the game, guys, I've never done one of these videos before, but with the newest edition, I kind of got in the mood to go ahead and pick some of my favorite maps that I like in the game. But this isn't going to be just a traditional map ranking video of my favorites, but we're also going to talk about the maps and which map favors each side. So without further ado, guys, we're going to jump into that part first, and then we'll just talk about my non-biased favorites. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so starting first, and by the way, these are in no particular order because we're just talking about which maps favor which side. We're starting with the family house. Of course, guys, what better map to start with than the most iconic map in the game? And of course, the film, The Family House, guys. We're going to start with this. So we'll talk about a few things, guys. Family House is very unique. It's very different than a lot of the other maps. The victims, of course, start inside the house. They have to work their way out of the house to basically get out of any objective aside from the fuse box. Now, there are 3 current fuse box locations in the house. There are 3 pressure tank locations located around the outsides of the house as well. There is a battery, and of course there is the iconic generator driveway escape like the Sally Run escape in the family house. But one thing is for certain, guys, this map heavily favors the family. It is easily the most family-sided map in the game. I don't think that's debatable by anybody on family or victim side. As a family man myself, it is easily the most family-sided map in the game. If you're a victim, you're going to want to work together. You're going to want to be very cooperative. You're going to want to be communicating with your team, and you're going to want to try to be making double plays on certain objectives, including this back door that you guys can see here. This is a very good hotspot for this map. For a Connie, the basis is basically if you're playing victim, you want to try to get outside of this house and stay outside of this house. Maybe, put some pressure on the family, keep the family members outside of the house. That way somebody can make a fuse play upstairs. It can be a very difficult map to escape from as victims, but if you're cooperative, if you're moving quickly, you cannot move slowly and let the family get their traps down or whatever it may be. You want to be moving quickly. You want to have some fighters on your team. You want to have a Leland, most likely, a good Anna, somebody that can take some hits, somebody that can fight for the Connies to get the doors open. You got to work together. You can make it happen, but family house, easily most family-sided map in the game. Next, guys, we're moving on to good old Slaughterhouse, man. One of the original 3 maps of the game. Of course, you see a portion of this map in the film, but guys, this is the biggest of the original 3 maps coming into the game. It's very standard in terms of how to escape from the battery and generator side. You have multiple fuse box locations. You have 3 fuse box locations on this map that can be kind of scattered toward the generator side. Of course, this map has went through a few changes since its release. When it was released on release day for the game, the pressure tank did spawn in the basement, which made this a very victim-sided map. Now the pressure tank is upstairs in the open to where the family can, patrol it a little bit better. There are 3 pressure tank locations as well on this map. Again, very standard. 2 doors to get out to the generator side, 2 doors to get out to the battery side, both on opposite sides of the map. A very large interior of this map here, and I would recommend, if you're going to be playing this map as family, this is Leatherface's playground here because it's big, it's wide open, the basement's big, also wide open. There's a lot of gaps for victims to move around. Leatherface is definitely a must on this map, in my personal opinion, just because he can cover a lot of ground really, really fast. If the victims are working together, being cooperative, you'll even have that solo victim sometimes that can still maneuver around and get that solo escape. In my opinion, guys, Slaughterhouse is one of the most balanced maps in the game. And if I'm being completely honest, if Gunn creates new maps in the future, this would be one of the maps that I would definitely recommend them base new maps off of, because I think equally, depending, of course, if one side's cooperating, one's not, family and victim have a very, very good shot at winning on this map. So, bravo here. Like I said, at first, it was very victim-sided. That has been changed. Now the map is very, very balanced. Slaughterhouse. Alright guys, coming in with the third map, we have good old Nancy's house, man. This is the first DLC map that was included in the game. Guys, then the aesthetic, we'll of course talk about that once we do our personal ranking, but right now we're just talking about, you know, which side each map favors. Now, with Nancy's house, it's a bit unique. Obviously, we have multiple layers to this map. We have Nancy's house itself on the top of the map, accompanied by a junkyard in the back. Now, the different thing about this map is you have fuse box locations. You have 4 fuse box locations in this map. This is the only map that has 4 different spawn points for the fuse box, and they are in all different locations on the map. Of course, we have one upstairs on the porch of where we're at right now. We have one that spawns down here in the garage where we're headed to, and we also have 2 on the other side of the map. We have one that spawns over at the battery area, and we have one that spawns at Johnny's shack. Another unique thing about this map, guys, is there is one escape upstairs outside of the house where there are absolute multiple ways to reach this escape. There's a generator in the middle of the map. There's a gate right there you saw. There's also 2 doors that lead into the garage that lead into this single gate exit upstairs. Also, battery side's pretty standard. It has 2 entrances to reach the battery. You can get good RNG to where you have the pressure tank and the generator and the fuse box all over at battery. Fuse box again, generator again. You do not have to open any gates or anything like that to get to the generator. It's in the wide open in the middle of the map. Ladies and gentlemen, the verdict on Nancy's map: easily the most victim-sided map in this entire game. You know, it's Connie's playground, as I like to call it. Especially if there's no cook or nobody watching the upstairs, Connie can very easily get, you know, 2-minute escapes on this map very, very easily. If somebody's in the middle, you know, you bring up one of your tanks to kick the gen off. With, you know, high strength, Connie can be waiting up at the top of the road to just go and insta-pop the front gate. It is child's play for victims on this map. Similar to how Family House is with family, that's how Nancy's house is with victims. So, final verdict, guys, Nancy's house, the most victim-sided map in the game. Moving on to the gas station, ladies and gentlemen. We're on to one of the original 3 maps again. Of course, the iconic gas station from the film. This map, guys, it is very, very standard. Probably the most standard map in the game. It has 2 gates on one side that lead to the generator, 2 gates on the other side that lead to battery. It has 3 fuse box locations, 3 pressure tank locations, located kind of toward the middle of the map, aside from one of the pressure gate locations. We have a fuse box location right here on the shed, which could make it a little bit difficult for family, but this map, again, very, very standard. 2 buildings in the middle, and of course, we just have to watch the outsides, the gates, the battery, if you're playing family. Keep an eye on the fuse box, keep an eye on the pressure gate, guys. This is a medium-sized map. In my opinion, this is the most balanced map in the game. Now, it does present, much like Nancy's house, this map and Nancy's house are the only 2 maps that have multiple ways to reach one exit. And what I mean by that, guys, if you get the generator side open on this map, you can either kick the generator off and leave out that exit, or you can leave out the secret smoke door exit, which leads to the same place as the generator. But nonetheless, guys, this map can be very easy if you have a good lineup on family to patrol, and it can also be very easy if you have a good communicative victim team to escape this. Guys, in my personal opinion, this is the most balanced map in the game, even more so than Slaughterhouse. Gas Station is the map, and it should set the standard for maps in this game in terms of balance. Now we're moving on, guys, to Devil's River Mill. This is the second DLC map that came out to the game. It was a well-sought-after map, including myself. A lot of folks were anticipating this map, could not wait for it, myself included. This map's stunning, but of course we'll get into that later on. Now, this map plays out very similarly to Gas Station, but the only difference is this map is massive. This is the biggest map in the game. Debatable, I guess you could say, but in terms of layers, in terms of levels in this map, It is easily the biggest map in the game for victims to, move around. Lots of hiding spots. Of course, we have the mill in the middle itself, the giant building of the mill. When you get out generator or battery side on this map, the locations on both sides are massive. The battery pretty much has like an entire town out there on that side, which is like half the size of a regular map itself. Now, you can't have the pressure tank spawn at the very top of the mill, which in my opinion, guys, leaves this map slightly victim-sided, depending on the lineup you're running on both sides. If you have a Danny, of course, if you're on family, if you have a hands, or if you don't have a hands, I would definitely recommend having a Leatherface on this map just because of the scale of it, just because it's so big. Again, very similar to Gas Station in terms of battery and generator, 2 gates that lead out to both. There is a lot of ground to cover in this map as family, guys. And honestly, one of the ways to win this map as family is to sadly camp on this map just because it's so big. If you take chases up through the mill and different things like that, there's a good chance the victims are going to one-up you and they're going to get somebody out one of the gates or, get a fuse box done or something like that. There's 3 fuse box locations. There's 3 pressure tank locations on this map as well. Fuse box locations are kind of in similar areas on the generator side between the generator and the mill. But as of right now, guys, depending on where the pressure tank is and how big the map is, I'm saying this map slightly favors victims. Alright, guys, jumping into the last one, saving the newest for last. We're jumping into the graveyard. Of course, it was the newest DLC map introduced into the game. It's still kind of brand new. A lot of people are figuring out things with this map. This map is very complex, very, very different than every other map. And what I mean by complex is it's difficult for both sides to learn, but once you do learn this map, it becomes very, very easy to understand. Now, it's the only map in the game that has multiple basements that do not connect to each other. There are 2 basements, the catacombs at the very bottom, and of course the main church basement that do not connect with one another. So that adds another layer of, getting lost and finding different things, not finding ways to escape doors and different things like that. But we also, much like the mill, we have a giant church in the middle, so I do compare this map a little bit like the mill in terms of scale. There's a lot of areas to move around as a victim. There's lots of places to hide throughout the map. Of course, you're in a graveyard, so you can hide behind gravestones. You can hide in all this, kind of debris and different grass. There's grass everywhere throughout the map. Now, one thing that differentiates this map than every other map is it has a different escape. It has a new escape that no other map has. Also, it does not have a battery escape. So the new escape that comes in this map, which of course is the flood drains, which will lead to a drain exit that will replace the battery. Now, the interesting thing about this map, guys, is at the very top of the map, we have gates that lead out to the generator. Much like Family House, there's also that same gate will also lead out to the pressure tank. It's the only map in the game where you have to get through a gate with a lockpick to be able to get out of the pressure gate exit. Now, being at the top, we have a generator exit and a pressure gate exit, and we also have the fuse box has 3 spawn locations, which are all on the church. They can spawn on the left side, the right side, or the back of the church. Now, in terms of that, being where the generator exit is in the pressure gate exit, a family member, a good family member, a fast family member, maybe even hands or cook can patrol the backside of the map where the generator is, lock those doors down, keep an eye on the fuse box, and at the bottom with the floodgate exit, you have to go through a single gate, which we're coming up upon right now. You absolutely, as victim, absolutely have to get through this gate to be able to turn to valve drains to complete the flood exit. And of course, this is down here is where the flood exit is. So when victims do complete these 2 valves, it will drain all of this water. It will open up one final gate that you have to pick to where you could escape. With that said, there's only one way to enter this area, one way to get this flood exit completely done, and that is the gate we just came through. If you have a family patrolling that, you have another family member or 2 patrolling the fuse box plus the top generator gates, guys. I hate to admit it, but this map is easily family-sided. Now, a good victim team will be able to bully you here at the bottom at this gate and be able to push their way through this gate, causing some chaos. Again, now below that gate, we do have the catacombs, which is the second basement, which is a different basement than the regular basement. But a good victim team, much like Family House, will have to work together, be cooperative to defeat a patrolling, communicative family team on this map. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I love the Graveyard. It's a great map. However, it is heavily family-sided. Okay, guys, so now that we got the rankings of which maps favored which side, and I think we did a pretty good job. We had 2 that favored family, 2 that favored victim, and we had 2 very balanced maps. We're simply going to move on to my favorite maps, aesthetically, and what I like to play on. This has nothing to do with family, victim side, balance, nothing like that. This comes from both sides. What maps I would like to play on both sides, and what maps I just find, really, really cool looking. So, as you guys can see here, we're starting from worst to best, and we're on the mill. Now, I want to say a few things, guys. This map is stunning. I think it fits in the lore perfectly. It's a beautiful map. There's no doubt about it. I am just not a big fan of playing on this map. And what I mean by that is every time I see this map in my lobby and we're playing on it, I have a big sigh. And one of the reasons being is because win or lose, for some reason, whatever, maybe it's my luck, I have no idea. Every match on this map takes forever. If I'm playing family, you really have to kind of camp your locations to be able to make sure victims aren't getting out. If I'm playing victim, I'm usually going up against camping family members, not being able to get out, or I'm going to have to make a play on the fuse or something like that. And the match can go on for an extended period of time. In my personal opinion, I think this map is massive. I'm not a fan of the huge maps in the game, like the massive maps. I think it's a little too big in some cases, like especially on battery side and gen side. That's just some nitpicky stuff. I mean, the map's great. I don't mind playing on it. If I have to play on it, it's whatever. But, we're doing a ranking here, and the mill's going to come in last for me, guys, just because I don't have as much fun playing on it as I do every other map. It's simple as that. Alright, guys, jumping into number 5, man. Next map is another giant map. You heard me talk about the mill. We're talking about Slaughterhouse now. Coming into this map, I don't know if I have PTSD, guys, from the very beginning of the game where the pressure tank was in the basement or what, but much like the mill, especially when I'm playing solo queue on either side, family or victim, I have to leave out a big sigh whenever I see this map in the lobby as well, just because it's so big. And, if I'm playing family, especially in solo queue, somebody gets out battery side, out in the Slaughterhouse where we're at right now, I'm chasing them around for 10 minutes, as they're gapping through different areas back here by myself. If non-communicative family members are playing, as victim side, it can become very difficult if your teammates get wiped out and you have a giant map to deal with. You have family members everywhere. Everything's scattered everywhere. Again, as we talked about earlier, I think this is one of the most balanced maps in the game aside from Gas Station. However, it's just not one of my favorite maps to play on. There's tons of crawl spaces everywhere. There's tons of gaps, barricades, all that cool stuff, different obstacles for everybody to go through. It's hard for victims sometimes to maneuver around. It's hard for family to maneuver around. But I will say, in terms of balance, this is one of the maps you want to be playing on if you have good squads on both sides and you want a chance at winning in a fun, good, kind of sweaty match. Slaughterhouse is definitely the map. But in terms of aesthetic, I think it's beautiful. Obviously, it comes from the film. So it does, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film a lot of justice. Just not one of my favorite maps to play on. So we're going to put Slaughterhouse at number 5. Alright, guys. So coming in at number 4, we have Nancy's House. And this might come as a surprise for some of you that watch my streams, because as a family member, I do leave out a big sigh every time we see this map in the lobby, because it is the most heavily victim-sided map in the game. But again, this isn't about balance or anything like that. We're just talking about fun that we have whenever we play on the map, and also the aesthetic. So I thought they did a really good job with this map. It was the first DLC map at the time. There was only Family House, Gas Station, and Slaughterhouse. And Nancy's House really shook things up quite a bit. Obviously, we have different levels, different layers of this map with Nancy's house itself. We have the garage below. We have a big junkyard. I think the map is one of the most beautiful maps in the game, if not the best looking map in the game. Now, Even though it is victim side, I do enjoy playing this map on family. Of course, I enjoy playing this map on victim as well. There's a lot of places to move around. There's quite a few gaps. Now, there's not many barricades on this map, so you have to be careful with that. But again, it is just a fun map to look at. It's visually stunning. I think Gun did a great job with this map. I think this is some of their best work. Sumo also working on it. Yeah, so Nancy's House, man, coming in at number 4. In terms of visuals and fun to play, I really, really enjoyed this map. Okay, so we're coming in with the big 3, guys, right now, man. This map has grown on me. It's only been out for about a week now, but it's really, really grown on me, guys. The Graveyard map is my 3rd favorite map in the game. It just brings a complete new element to the game. It makes things feel new, obviously, with the new escape. I love the ambiance this map sets, the tone. It's kind of dark, it's rainy. It just reminds you of, it's horror. This map is horror, and whenever you're in this map, especially if you're a victim, you know, even if you wouldn't know that there was a family around, I feel like you would be scared and looking over your shoulder. That's just the kind of that's kind of how this map just presents itself to you guys. And again, like I said, this is a pretty large map. In terms of playing, it can be family-sided, but again, this isn't about balance. This map just brings a whole new element to the table. Of course, we have the mud puddles that can slow both the victim and family members down. They do seem to slow the family members down a little bit more than victims, but that's a different video for a different day. But it adds a new element, man. I love the Graveyard. This is one map I have been calling for from the very beginning of the game. If we look through the film, obviously we got the gas station, we got the family house, we got the slaughterhouse, and you know, a lot of folks were talking about, well, what kind of maps do we have in the film that, you know, we could add to the game? And aside from the Hardesty residence, you know, I talked about the Graveyard, because we do see a graveyard in the film as well, and how cool would that have been? You know, we talked about how, you know, people can hide behind gravestones, jump down in, you know, grave areas, have a church that has a basement, stuff like that. We talked about all of this from the very beginning, and the fact that we have it in the game now easily makes this one of my favorite maps to play on. And right now, guys, this is ranked at level 3, number 3, I should say, but it could even increase even more, because I am just having such a damn good time with this map and learning all the cool things about it. Alright, guys, coming in at number 2, and before you roast me for putting Family House below anything but number 1, let's just give me a second. Let me talk about it for a few seconds. So obviously, this is the most iconic map in the film, in the game. You know, Gunn obviously paid massive homage to the film by creating this map. It is so accurate. When you come to this map, it just makes you feel the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's just what this map does. Obviously, the most iconic map in the game by far. Now, but there's some elements to my rankings here, and this is simply what I have the most fun playing on, as well as, you know, and I'm not just talking about family side. Of course, I am a family main here, so yes, when I'm playing family, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, we got Family House. It's going to be the easiest map to win on, sure. But in terms of all-around fun, you know, when I think of a good match, I think of, you know, a very high-level match of, you know, maybe a few victims escaping, or, you know, maybe the family, you know, getting duped by some victims, you know, both sides having to work together very, very well to ensure a good match. And I think Family House can do that if you have very, very good victims on the house working together. Other than that, you know, it's pretty much just a clean sweep by the family pretty easily. So that's where it kind of comes into my ranking. And again, you know, these rankings go based on which maps I really, really like to play the most. So Family House, guys, at being number 2, there's nothing wrong with that. It's way up there. I love playing this map. Even on victim side, like if I know I'm going to get absolutely manhandled on this map, I think it's fun just to run upstairs, you know, and try your best, maybe try to make a backdoor play or jump out the window, see what happens, get chased down the road by Leatherface. I mean, everything about this map is amazing. Yes, family-sided, but amazing, guys. Family House easily coming in at number 2 for me. And surprise, surprise, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached number 1, and I know you guys were scratching your head wondering what this could be, even though it was the only map left. But we have Gas Station, guys. Gas Station, in my opinion, is the best map in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is aesthetically stunning. It's obviously iconic to the film. Very iconic. With the newest edition, and I think it even helped bump this up a little bit with the newest edition of the Storm variant of this map, which makes it even more creepy and spooky and all that cool stuff. The map, again, is the most balanced map in the game for both sides. I have so many great moments playing victim and family on this map. Getting chased around, making good plays with my team, on victim side or family side, sweeping the victims, but having a really hard time doing so, splitting the match 2 and 2, whatever it may be. I feel like Gas Station is the perfect map in this game for both sides, family and victim. And again, I like traversing it. I like the way it looks. It's just a beautifully stunning map. So everything with all of that put together, guys, Gas Station easily comes out, and I've been saying this for a long time, by the way. It's always been my favorite map. It still stands today. And I think it sets the standard for future maps in this game. You don't have to make them too complex. You don't have to make them crazy. This is one of the simplest maps in the game, but simple for both sides. You have 2 exits on both sides. You got fuse box and pressure tank in the middle. Bada bing, bada boom. Very, very simple, and it can make for a fun match for both sides. Gas Station just reigns supreme for me in this game. Every time I see it on either side, I'm excited. Victim, family, it don't matter. I do not feel that way about any other map aside from Gas Station. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it there. We talked about the most victim and family and balance-sided maps in the game. We also chose our favorite from worst to best. And again, guys, that's not a crack on any map. I think every map in this game is stunning, but, when you're ranking them, you got to choose. So, Gas Station coming in on top, ladies and gentlemen. That's my ranking. Let me know what you're ranking down below in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you liked it, hit that like, subscribe to the channel. My name's Sergeant Moose. We'll see you guys on the next one, man.